Hello and welcome to our four-part mini course on IP commercialization. Now, if you're an inventor or running R&D teams and you need help from time to time, then this is going to be very helpful for you. Most innovators are great at their discipline, whether it's science or engineering, whatever it is, but they can't be expected to be good at knowing how to get a licensee or a distributor for their project. If your IP project is stalled or it's moving too slowly, this mini course is going to give you a lot of good pointers and help you focus on the common problems that are common to our industry and get you started again. So my name's Daniel O'Connor. I've been doing this now for about 40 years. I've helped over 1,000 investors and founders to get their projects going. And there's going to be no cost and there's no heavy selling pitch in there. This is really just nuts and bolts, getting you to understand how our process can free your project from where you're stuck right now. And if that works for you, you might want to take steps to find out more about joining our community of inventors. So we want you to know this is all about having a great idea. It doesn't always guarantee wealth. A solid patent won't bring you funding or value if it's not the right patent or it doesn't have a market presence. Getting investors isn't like a regular startup. You have to rethink the way you do that in order to get investors. And we've cornered that with the Cornerstone Investor model. And with early stage commercialization, it can be hard, but there is a process. You need that process. And we always start it with a pre-start checklist. So you need to know how funding works for innovation. That's the first thing. And you also need to know how you need to have a commercial model and an action plan to make sure that you can implement along those lines within a short period of time. Otherwise, it's going to take you years to implement. You need to know who's the most likely to fund you, and that's not going to be high net worth individuals. Those independently wealthy investors, it's way too early for them and they won't be looking at your project at all. Now, this four-part mini course is going to handle preparation, show you how to prepare for your project, prepare your project for commercialization. It's going to talk about planning in our second one. Our second module will talk about planning and what you need to do and how we do it with our workshops and our 244 questions. And the third module will handle funding and show you the ways we do funding, or funding needs to happen for innovation. And then finally, on the fourth module, we can talk about commercial readiness. So that's, well, I've got a bonus fifth one for you, but we won't talk about that yet. Here, I want to present some samples of our 2024 program of people who are going through our programs now or have just completed. So let me share my screen with you and I'll introduce you to David. David has invented something quite unique. It's not high technology, but what he's got allows a single person to build a farm shed or any other shed, any size, on any property they want, on the ground, and then they raise the roof using pulleys and lock it in at the top. And once they've done that, they can remove the pulleys and ropes and the winches. They do this with every post all the way around, and they jack it up at 4 inches at a time all the way to the top. Once they've got that, we do the same thing with the walls and tilt them up, build them on the ground and then tilt them up. And that allows you to do, you can do double-story sheds, it can do anything you like, any height. We've packaged that all up to change the way people order sheds on farms, primarily, because it can be another 50% of the cost to do the install, because you need a crew, you need lifting equipment, you need platforms, you need concrete poured before you do the project, and you need crews and all that hired equipment to turn up on the same day to be able to use it. This eliminates it all. One person can do this simply by walking around the post. It doesn't matter how big the shed is, and raising it 4 inches at a time all the way around. So great project. He's launching that in Australia in October. It'll be launched in USA in February. So now I introduce you to Jeff. Jeff is in Wisconsin. But having spent 30, 40 years in the hearing aid industry, Jeff realised that 30% of people can't wear hearing aids. And the reason for that is because it gets painful in their ears. So what he's done is developed a very rubbery in-ear speaker system. So, and he's had the common connector for all of the behind the ear devices. So he can actually just build this and supply it to all of the industry, so they can still sell their same behind the ear hearing aids, but they have a different, if the person needs a separate one, and that's 30% of the industry, then they can actually just buy this, insert it, and it's comfortable. So that's going on sale probably in 2024, but more likely 2025 in the USA, and then it'll go global. This is Aaron. Aaron went through our program earlier this year. This is what you see here on the left is his device called, which is essentially a 30-second hole fix for gyprock walls. If you've got partitioned walls and you've got a hole one side, you can push this device in. The red part butts up against the opposite wall. You pull a pin and out comes the web, locks onto the wall you're trying to repair, and then you just take your handful of spatula and put it over. That's it. Leave it in there. It's all done. You hand the house owner or renter or whatever, you give them 2 pieces of sandpaper, say, attack this in 24 hours, it's all done. That's a 1995 30-second hole fix. We've got it into 4 chains in America for hardware stores and 2 in Australia. So, and that's starting to sell now. You can see it's very useful. This is John. John has solved a problem for mining, particularly underground mining, but also some industries where they've got to be very careful of what they call hot works. Anywhere where you have flames or sparks or drill any metal to metal that's going to create any sort of flammable situation, particularly in a flammable environment, they have to curb the operation to when the mines or whenever the operation isn't running. And what he can do is, with these 2 parts here, they clamp together with a rattle gun, and that'll hold 1 ton vertical and ½ a ton horizontal. So he can use it for pipes, he can use it for cable trays, he can even use it on the side for davit arms. Anything he wanted to, people can buy this and they can reuse them simply by 2 quick bolts with a rattle gun, and off it comes. And there's no drilling, no sparks. All they need is a ladder or a platform to get up to however high the I-beams are within the mine. That's now in production and starting to sell into Australian mines, and that'll go over the world, all over the world as well. Now we've got Simon. Simon is a management consultant in Australia. He works from his residence in a country town in Western Australia, and he helps businesses, particularly service-based businesses, and he helps them double their net earnings in 10 months or their money back. Now, one of the things we needed was an entire course. We also needed all the checklist templates and everything that went with it, but then we decided to write a book as well as his sale thing, and I joined him on that, and I co-wrote the book with him. And it was quite a rewarding experience, and Simon's still running that business. The reason why I featured him here is Simon's back in my program as a level 2. So he's actually teaching other people as an IP mentor how to raise capital, how to sort their businesses out, and he's able to work with some of our level 1 program participants. I could go on and on with that, but it's futile. You just want to see a sample of people who don't necessarily have higher education. Some do, but you can see that they can still make money from their ideas by simply having a plan. Now, the next module will cover how we prepare projects for market. That's just as important as what we've just done here with our assessments. So I'm going to show you the steps you need to take so you don't waste time or money. And there's information you need to make sure your project won't fail. And it's better to know this early instead of halfway through the project, because then you will have wasted money. So I'll see you on the next module.